Communication with your supplier is key. It is vital there is constant and regular communication between you and your supplier, particularly if you've just started working with them and they're producing some new developments or samples for you. If, for instance, they're making some samples for you, what you don't want to be doing is envisioning what your jewelry design is ultimately going to physically look like based on the hard work that you've put into creating it. So let's say you've started the design from a CAD and you're waiting for weeks. And then when it finally arrives, you're thinking, hang on, why does it look so different to my original CAD design? It happens where there can be a loss or a breakdown in communication. And I've heard it many times from my customers working with other suppliers. So I want to just share with you some tips you can apply as you're working with your supplier to avoid any of this from happening. These are practices that my team and I at Tie Design do every single day with all of our customers. And really, it's just an indirect way of developing that trust and growing together. Stay watching, guys, and I'll explain more. If you're new here, I'm Kim, owner of Tie Design Distributors. We're a third-generation family business since 1975, where we have our manufacturing plant in Thailand producing high-end silver and gold jewelry exclusively for designers. And we've got our headquarters in London and a sales and support office in the US. If you've got time, just watch my intro video where I'll explain a little bit more about the purpose of this channel. And of course, please like or subscribe to the channel for all my latest videos. And any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'm going to go straight into stressing the importance of letting your supplier know from the offset that communication is key and you expect regular updates from them when you're working on a particular project together. I think once you establish this sort of relationship with your supplier, then in effect, you can learn so much about jewelry manufacturing. So for example, one of the practices that we apply with our customers is providing them with photo updates during their sample development. There's another video that we shot a couple of weeks ago all about the manufacturing process. So all these words I'm going to use should hopefully all be familiar to you. For instance, when it comes to making CADs for customers, we'll provide them with several images of the design in different angles and positions so that they can visualize the design as clearly as possible. Then once a resin is printed, again, we'll just send photos of the resin in different angles, etc., to the customer, and more so if they request. Once a sample is casted, we can provide photos of the piece in its raw state before the piece has been filed down or polished. And then obviously, final photos of the finished polished piece right before the factory sends the samples. Customers love to feel as involved and as part of the team as possible. And if they can see the results after each stage of that production development, then they've basically seen what the physical piece will end up looking like once it's finally in their hands and there's no hidden surprises. In comparison to, say, waiting for weeks without any or little information or progress on your sample designs, and you don't want to be feeling slightly fearful or apprehensive during that long wait time. I think one of the other benefits of providing lots of images and updates to customers, just from a manufacturing standpoint, is that it keeps my production team on their toes because they know that, for example, after each stage of, say, CAD, resin, sample, etc., that the customer is going to be judging the progress themselves and they're anticipating certain results from each stage of production. For example, we know that the 3D CAD design has to be spot on with the exact measurements and that resins have to be printed to the highest quality and so forth. And when you're at that level of working in a very transparent way, it allows both parties to be completely honest and give feedback. So there's been times that, we've printed a resin, for example, and, through close-up inspection and photos, notice that some printing lines are still visible in the recess areas. We can openly say that, look, we've noticed that there's a slight defect here and therefore we need to print a new resin, etc. But taking the time to inspect the progress of the sample development with the customer allows us to catch anything that might not look right, whether that's the quality of the resin, a poor quality mold, or the casting itself. So it kind of benefits both parties. So my point is, make it crystal clear that continuous communication and updates are provided by your supplier to you, and that this is your expectation if you are to work with them. At the end of the day, nobody wants to waste time. Suppliers want to keep their customers, and customers need a reliable and trustworthy supplier. So let them know that you want to be part of the team and the whole process, and this is what is needed for you to build trust in them. Well, I hope I've communicated that message over to you effectively and that you found it helpful for developing and building your relationship with your supplier. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Take care. Bye.